Breaking right now, really in just the last couple minutes, we've got some news about the accounting firm for the Trump Organization, longtime accounting firm, now cutting ties with the organization and saying nearly 10 years worth of financial statements from the company can no longer be viewed as reliable. We're learning about this from a letter just made public by the New York Attorney General. She's been conducting this civil investigation into the former president's company. And literally, as I was talking to Gabe, as we've been on the air, we got a statement from the Trump Organization on this, basically saying, essentially, this doesn't really matter, saying in part, quote, their February 9th letter from Mazars, their now former accounting firm, confirms that after conducting a subsequent review of all prior statements of financial condition, Mazars' work was performed in accordance with all applicable accounting standards and principles. Here to translate that into English for us is NBC's Tom Winter, who's covering this. So, Tom, explain a couple things here. You've got Mazars, this accounting firm, essentially cutting ties with the Trump Organization. Normally, we're not bringing you this as breaking news. We're not CNBC. That's not our jam. Here's why this is so interesting, is because this is happening against the backdrop of that investigation from the New York Attorney General. So explain why this is significant.
Right. And so this is a letter that was filed today, although it was sent to the Trump Organization last week, Hallie. And essentially what it's saying is, hey, look, for 10 years, effectively, from June 2011 to 2020 in June, we provided you with a number of the statements of financial condition. So this would be if I was your accountant, Hallie, and that's probably not a good thing, but if I was your accountant, I would say, all right, send me your bank statement, send me your 401k, send me any stocks you might have, any sort of funds you may have overseas, what properties do you have, and I'll put together essentially a health check and say, look, this is how much Hallie owes to people, this is how much money Hallie has, and here's all the properties and assets, and this is why you may or may not feel comfortable lending to her and doing business with her. And what they've said is that the Trump Organization can no longer rely on those statements. In the statement from the Trump Organization, they're referring to the part of the letter where they say, look, while we have not concluded that the various financial statements as a whole contain material discrepancies based upon the totality of the circumstances, we believe our advice to you is to no longer to rely on these statements. They say they've done that in part from the Attorney General, who you referenced, their civil investigation, their filings, Mazars' own internal investigation, and information that they've received both from within and outside of the company. So, and on top of that, they've got a conflict, they say, which is prohibiting them from continuing to represent and provide accounting for the Trump Organization. So when you put it all together, effectively you're saying, look, you got to hire somebody new, and the information that we gave to you before, which is based on the information you gave us, we've now got some problems with it.
So the Trump Organization seems to be saying, Tom, and again, I'm reading this like from my phone because it's coming in as we're on the air, seems to be saying, hey, this is kind of vindication for us. Is that spin from the Trump Organization? Is that what they hope is happening here? Cut through some of that for us.
Yeah, that's what I would hope it would be if I were them. I think that when you look at this, it's probably the opposite. An accountant doesn't dream up the numbers. They rely on the numbers that are given to them. And based on this filing, it would seem that they can no longer stand up those numbers and provide their kind of seal of approval, Hallie. If they can't provide that seal of approval, that there's some sort of an issue with the underlying information that they received, I can understand how I would put out the statement that same way if I was the Trump Organization. I don't know if investigators are going to look at it that way or are looking at it that way as they continue to come through these docs.
Tom Winter, jumping in front of a camera for us on that. Tom, thank you.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.